Hello, everyone joining us. I'm delighted and very honored today to be able to have a beautiful friend, a beautiful soul, Lynnie Wennerstrom, to interview her and share her story because it'll be an awesome inspiration for you on your healing journey. So, without too much ado, hello, Lynnie. It's
Hello, darling Patsie.
thank you for giving me your time and your valuable information, knowledge, advice. So, Lynnie, if you would, it'd be lovely if you would share with us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today, please.
Well, I had to be kicked down really hard and down low before I could get to where I am. I I was a very, very sick person. I had chronic migraines, chronic back pain, epilepsy, COPD, a lot of pain, depression, and during the years that I was probably in my lowest, my mother died, who was my bestest friend in the entire world, and my father died. And first my father died, and then 6 months later my mother died, and it just was it was a tough time. It was a really tough time. And
Mm.
I think that sometimes you just have to you have to dig real deep and find maybe it's courage, maybe being really, really scared because literally I was on my deathbed. My organs were shutting down.
So, how long ago was
About
this,
2 years,
Lynnie?
a little less than 2 years ago.
Oh,
It's right
only
about
two
this time
years
because it
ago.
was the day before Thanksgiving when I just couldn't breathe correctly, and I knew that it was live or die. It was the day before Thanksgiving, so I'm real close to my 2 year anniversary.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And your mum and dad really passed away quite close together.
Oh,
I'm so sorry
yeah,
about your losses, by the way. But they passed away
yes.
quite close
Uh,
together, a close
but
time
that's been
span.
almost five
Wow,
years. But
that is
that
drastic.
took me a very long time, especially my mother, because we were so close, and I was in such a tailspin at the time that she died that that's when probably the majority of my suicide attempts. I didn't want to live without her. It's like,
Mm.
mommy, take me with you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely,
She would,
absolutely. They're like
yeah.
your anchor in life, aren't they? So you probably, I guess, if you got to that point of wanting to end your own life, you did go through such quite
Oh,
a
of course.
depressive state
And the
as well,
pain,
didn't you?
physical and mental pain. I
Absolutely.
don't think you can differentiate very honestly mental
Yep.
from physical. Um,
No.
it was just a lot of pain.
Yeah. Look at you now. And you have pulled yourself out of that hole yourself. I mean, did you consult
For
doctors
sure.
and medical specialists when you were going
Are
through
you
that?
kidding? No, I ran from the doctors. I ran from the dentist. I ran from therapists. It's like I I shouldn't say I ran. I from the doctor who is my friend, by the way. He's a very good friend of mine. But I didn't want any more drugs. I didn't want. I mean, I had medications. My home was a pharmacy. I mean, today I wouldn't be embarrassed, but back then I was just like, oh my god! When I counted, it's like I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and which, by the way, cholesterol is very good for you. So if you have high cholesterol, don't listen to the doctors. And
That's right. Yep.
and yeah, and then my pain
No, that's true.
medication, and I mean, for my epilepsy, for migraines, for I mean, it was awful. It was really crazy. So I flushed most of
That's
those down
it.
the toilet. And please, for your listeners, don't. That's,
Yeah,
I had to
I
run.
yeah, I
I
read
seriously
about
had to
that. That's
run from that
amazing.
stuff. I had to just stop it. I just had to stop it all. So yeah, no, I consulted my inner self.
What was your, was there a point of a wake up call? Like, did you get to, I mean, you said you were given lots of medication and you were probably just so stoned out from all that, weren't you? You know, all the pharmaceutical drugs in your system, but was there any particular point of turning point sort of thing, or a wake-up call where you just finally found that thing in you that made you
Well,
pull yourself out of it?
that
Was
was
there
the day
something in particular?
before Thanksgiving in America, which would be November. It's always the fourth or the fourth Thursday, I think. I don't remember now, but I remember. Here's the holiday, and I don't remember. Anyway, it's on a Thursday, and so it was Wednesday night, and 2 years ago, and I couldn't
Mm.
breathe. I just I got up and I dragged myself to seriously, Patsy. I was walking down the stairs like, and I'm not going to say a little old lady because little old ladies were moving faster than me. I was taking one step at a time with both feet, and it would take me probably 5 minutes to get down 13 steps to and it was ridiculous. I found myself like all hunched and going down the stairs. I'm thinking, there's something wrong with when you're 50 years old and you're acting like you're like 2012
Mm.
or something. And so so the moment was when
Yeah.
I just I couldn't breathe. My lungs were sticking together, and I looked in the mirror, and I just had my hair was greasy. I hadn't showered in weeks probably, and the room was like, ugh, it was all piled up with clothes. Hadn't done laundry. I had no energy. I had chronic fatigue, and I thought, you know what? You're dying. You literally are dying. And I seriously had to look in the mirror and say, do you want to live? And and there was like this little spark that there was like the fear of God. You're dying, and this little spark that said, I want to live. I am no longer in control of
Yeah.
dying or living. All those times that I tried to commit suicide, I'm thinking, oh my God, now it's out of my hands. And I didn't like that. I wanted to live. I wanted to thrive.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's almost like your little flame of your inner spirit
Burning,
is still there.
burning.
It's always there. Yeah, always there. Yeah. And sometimes, like you said, we just have to be pulled right down to the bottom, don't we, before we can finally reignite it. Yeah. And could I just also ask, so what do you think, Lynnie, after your experiences, like I've always said to my participants and to people that ask me as well, that wisdom is knowledge can be learned, but wisdom has to be lived. And that's why people that have lived through the actual
Mm-hmm.
experience of healing themselves, yeah. So what would you say is the key to healing and good health? I mean, I know you've written a book about it,
About health.
and people can, yeah, but just maybe in brief, simple points, what do you think is the key to health and healing?
I think that you have to believe in yourself. You have to come to accept yourself and love yourself for who you are, and you have to know that you matter, that you are worthy, that you are just as spiritual, just as holy, just as worthy of any person in this world. And until you do, as long as so long as you think that you are less than anybody that you compare yourself to, um, I don't think you can ever heal. I think you have to get past that. I believe strongly that you have to get past that, and that's what I believe is the key. And I think you have to look. You don't look externally. You look internally, and and the biggest thing I think of all is that to know that we are one with Creator, that the Creator is much bigger, the universe, God, whatever, however you want to phrase it, and to be respectful of that, but to know that you are part of that, and we are here to serve a purpose. And by not doing that, we are not just doing a disservice to ourselves and our family, but all mankind, because we all have gifts that we need to share.
Totally. Beautiful. That's so true. Yes. Did you have to do quite a bit of healing with grieving as well because of the major loss that you had to go through with your parents? Yeah,
Yes,
that was part of, yeah.
and I can tell you that for me, and I think probably for most people, I didn't know who I was. And when I really came right down to it, it was like, well, who are you, Lynnie? Who are you? What are you about? And had I not journaled and had I not had just, like creating my identities, it's something that I practice, and to learn who I am and figure out my passions, and had I not journaled, I wouldn't be where I am today, because it's so amazing when you journal. It's a story. It's unfolding every day, and it's just so exciting. You can go back and it's like, wow, I was there, and now I'm here, and so it's just like this little point, especially if you're somebody who likes stats, or you like to, see a line of progression, or when you maybe step back and why you step back, and all of those things. It's just a record and a recording of who you are and what you are and where you're going and where you've been. It's a picture, a
Absolutely,
snapshot. I love it.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, totally, totally agree with you. It's actually a big component of what we do in this program and in the self-healing program, journaling
Hmm.
and reflections. Like you said, it's you need to get it out. It's a form of release as well, don't you find?
Yes,
For your emotions, yeah, and then it just regroups things in you mentally as well. Yeah, that's awesome. Um,
very
and
cathartic.
and when you went through those difficult times, like you said before, um, in your healing journey, were there any particular techniques or things that you use to find strength? I know you said before it's mainly in knowing who you are, and that's in one of the chapters in your book. I love reading that one,
Mhm.
the one you just said about your identity, establishing that or recreating that. But
Right.
also, what other things would you have used? Like, do you have a quiet time? Um, do you do a lot of? Did you start doing volunteer work from then, or?
No, I've been doing that all my life. That's one of the things that my parents instilled in me, is to be of service, and that's probably one of the things that helped me
Yes, I
a
gathered
lot,
that would have.
because even when I felt down, I would see people at the food bank, and I'd go in with like this horrible migraine, and my head's down, and but I had to go in because nobody could fill in for me, so I'm checking people in, and they're like, "Are you okay? Or is there anything I can do?" I mean, the people who have the least, they're like, "Can I give you a drug? Can I give you anything?" And I'm thinking, these people who have the least are just here to give the most, And it lifted me up. So I think that when you are of service and when you give, I truly believe in give and you shall receive. I think that that's just a better a way of being. And I think that a lot of strength comes from comes from within, but when you see how giving human nature really is, and the creator, it's just like give, give, give. When you open your heart, it's give, give, give. And and if you don't see it, like I couldn't see it for 8 years. I'm just open your heart. It's like, wow, who's that? Thank you. I didn't know where to turn. I had absolutely no idea where to start. And I couldn't find anything that I needed. And I think that this is where a lot of good books and a lot of good advice and a lot of wisdom comes from, is when somebody hits rock bottom and they can't find what they need. I couldn't find what I need. I couldn't find a person to help me. I couldn't find a book. I couldn't find anything, and I had to do it myself. And that's where it came from. It came from knowing that I had to start with my mindset, and learning how to breathe. Learning and breathing is just so important, and I'm sure that your participants understand this. If they don't, I hope they get it soon. But breathing practices, they not only it's not only for meditation, but it energizes you, it alkalizes your body, it's healing, it relaxes you, it gets the cortisol building up in your body, just like whoop, down, and you're like in control. It's amazing, and it truly is. I give most credit to the breathing practices, in healing my COPD. And I'm not going to say it's 100% healed, but it's probably 90%. I have absolutely no problems. And I exercise like a crazy person because I am. I mean, I seriously can outdo, I'm 53 years old, and the 20 and 30-year-olds in different classes and stuff are like, and well, so am I, but, but, I mean, yeah, I could just keep on going, and in fact, after I exercise, I'm way more energized. So, yeah, it's just really cool. So the book takes, that's the whole thing. It takes you from your mindset to your breathing to hydration, which is so critical because 90% of us walk around in like this chronic state of dehydration. If you don't have your body dehydrated, nothing is going to work. I mean, you just nothing is going to work. I mean, our bodies are 70% water, right? 60 to 70%, depending on what scientist or doctor or whoever you speak to. And so our body can't function without water. So I just took these principles and not all self-learned because at one point I was at a point I found Elwin Robinson, who helped me a lot through his academies, and just took it to a whole different level. And so yeah, in whole foods and eating whole foods, nutrition, like magnesium for migraines. Our bodies are just so depleted in magnesium because our soil is depleted. That's the whole entire world, doesn't matter where you're at. And genetically modified foods, are just so bad for you in a million ways. So when you can put clean stuff that God put on this earth, and whether you're a meat eater or not, that the animals, you are what you eat. So what they eat, it goes into your body, and that's what you have to deal with, the inflammation and the other things. So that's where the book came from. And I don't mean to go on and on, but those things are just so key, that they were so key to my healing. And while I had to have mindset in the very beginning and just like boom, to get myself there, it would not have been sustainable had I not nourished my body as well, and thereby my soul and my mind and sleep. Did I forget sleep? Well, I think the biggest thing is to share my message, and my message is common sense health, because it really is. I mean, I am a health motivator, and I know I just made that up, but that's because I'm a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader. I am a cheerleader. I encourage. I want people to understand that it might be their grandparents, great grandparents, or before that, but these things that I talk about in my book are all common sense. The things that you and I shared are these principles. They're just common sense, and people don't understand. I think we're not taught this in school any longer, and so it has to start somewhere. So this is where I'm starting. So I'm creating an online course right now, and I love to speak because I love to be live and excited and energized, because I get energy from people like you, Miss Patsie, and your participants and anybody. I love that, and I love to see people thrive, and I know that everybody can. I don't care where you're coming from. You can. I don't care if you don't have legs, or or you have a kidney stone, or you have this or that. You can thrive. You can. Trust in yourself. Trust in there's a reason why we have a gut, and there's a reason why people say trust your gut. Besides physiologically or biologically speaking, it, it trust your inner wisdom and your inner self. It's so important, because that's what's going to guide you. For don't look on the outside for who you are. Go from the inside out. In fact, interestingly enough, have you heard of Michael Neal, The Inside Out Revolution? I strongly suggest that you and your participants read that book. It's amazing, but to go from the inside out and be who you are is it's quite fantabulous and awesome and amazing. So that's my wisdom. And be healthy. Be healthy, seriously. hydrate, sleep, all those things, exercise, move. Yeah. And listen to Patsie because she knows what she's talking about. Can I, one more thing? Be authentic. Just be authentic. Be your true self, because when you're not authentic, you're not fooling really anybody. You might fool them for a short time, but really it's just be authentic, because it's natural and it feels good, and then the real you comes out.